Hello, I'm CHOO, and today I'm going to be explaining briefly about LG-1, my part of the coding, my coding. So to summarize, basically this question, it will give you a target, and then you're supposed to find that target in the bunch of data called the source. So for the input, it will be split into two parts. The first part is the source part, and then the second part is the target part. So for the source part, basically the first line is the amount of rows and columns you have for your source. So 4 rows, 3 columns like this. And then same thing with the target, which is also like first line for the amount of rows and columns that the target has. So moving on to my coding. The first part here is the coding for the input for all source data. So based on the input here, like the first line will be the amount of rows and columns, and then with the rows and columns that I get from the input, I'll loop like the input for the actual like source data, and then it will based on that number, it will just loop until everything is done. So I can get all the source data. This why I use for loop is because I do not know like for sure. Like I cannot predict how many rows that test case would have. So by using the information they give, which is the rows and columns, I can like use that to like loop the amount of times I have to input the data. And then once I have done inputting it, it will be appended, like the data will be appended to a list for like easy to use. So same thing with target data, it will be inputting first line, and then based on the rows, it will just loop everything and then append it all to a list. So moving on to search, the first one is a counter called found, which I will explain more later. For each item in the target list, it will just loop through everything in the source list. And then for each element inside the source list DNA, it will go through for instance, they will go through the string, and then by using this code, it will find to see if like the target matches with anything inside the element. And if it matches, which is not equals to -1, because -1 means it's not found. So if it's found, the found counter will be updated, and then it will remove that DNA part, like that line, because you can't have like repeating targets inside one line. So then it will break the looping here, and then it will just go through everything it can for the second target, and so on and so forth. Then once everything is done, if found equals to R, which is like if the amount of times the target is found is equal to the amount of rows, which is how many you have for target. If it's the same, then it will print yes for having found and no for not being found. And then submit. And then that's basically it. Thanks.